Hey, Aubrey, did you know that students need at least a C1 level of English to get a 6.5 or higher on the IELTS exam? Were you aware of this fact?
Yeah, I did not realize that before I took the IELTS exam for the first time when I became an IELTS coach. And I was
Mhm.
shocked at the level of fluency that clearly was required in order to get a good score on this exam.
Yeah, totally. I know it is crazy, guys. And that is one reason why we have made a brand new C1 course that has all four skills of English: speaking, reading, writing, listening, everything you need for the IELTS exam. It is on sale now, and we are going to talk about a little bit about this course today. But also, guys, we're going to talk about which kind of C1 skills you should be practicing. And we're going to give you some very cool C1 vocabulary at the end in some IELTS sample answers. So today's episode is packed with useful information.
Yes, stay till the end. You don't want to miss these Band 9 sample answers with very useful vocabulary that you could use on both speaking and writing.
Yes. So, guys, if you are just so curious, you can't wait till the end of the episode. Go to allearsenglish.com/C1. That's the letter C and the number one to check out the course that's on sale right now. You can save up to $100. And actually, it's $200 because you get another free course with it. But those savings expire November 17th. Okay, let's get into this. So, what are some of the C1 skills that students should be rehearsing before their exam?
Yeah. So, first of all, for the listening exam, you need both implicit and explicit skills. You need to be able to understand implied knowledge, right? So, something that isn't explicitly stated, you have to be able to pick that out of the listening audio. So, this is a C1 skill to understand not only what is stated, but also what are the implications.
100%. I mean, you guys know that you need to understand paraphrases, that what you hear on the listening is not going to be word for word what you see in the answer choices, right? They're going to be paraphrased because they're not just testing your ability to recognize a word, they're testing your ability to understand what the words mean. So, understanding an implied meaning is a whole higher level of paraphrasing. And it is something that we practice in the C1 course, but also something you need to be rehearsing before your IELTS exam. But also in two of the listening parts, right? There's two or more speakers, and you need to be able to track those speakers and where the conversation goes, right? That's also something that we practice in the course.
Yes. And in fact, when you sign up today, you get this bonus course that is advanced listening for fast English. And it's all four of us: Lindsay, Michelle, me, and Jessica. Lots of different lessons and conversations where you're having to track multiple speakers.
Mhm.
We're interrupting each other, speaking over each other. This is one of the most difficult listening skills when learning a language. And you have to be able to track multiple speakers for the IELTS listening exam.
And I mean, the IELTS listening, those are like scripted dialogues, right?
Yeah,
It's
at
not
least they're
like
not
real
cutting each
life.
other off, right?
Right. So if you guys can understand the listening that we have in this extra course and in the C1 course, dude, IELTS will be no problem. And also, another thing that's tough about IELTS listening is they're only testing your ability to understand what you hear without seeing faces, which is a whole other level of difficulty, right? So we did make sure to include a lot of that in the course also. Now, let's talk about topic wise for reading and listening and speaking and writing. What are some of the difficult topics that students need to be aware of and be practicing?
Yeah, you need to be able to understand high level texts about culture, sports, mental health, all of these different topics. It's not going to just be pop culture, unfortunately. So, in our courses in the
That
C1
would be cool
course, we
though.
have high level readings on all of these different topics to prepare you for the IELTS exam.
Yeah, this course has more reading than in any of our other courses because we recognize that a C1 level and an IELTS 6.5 or higher, you guys need fluency at all four skills, not just speaking and writing, right? So there is reading in every module also. So in reference to speaking and writing skills, right? We can connect these to those reading topics as well. So it's not just being able to understand what you read or hear about these complicated topics, abstract topics, deeper topics. But also, guys, you need to be able to produce language in speaking and writing, talking about these complicated subjects, culture, laws, media literacy. I mean, we have all of that in the course also. So, again, right before we get to the vocab, we'll teach you the vocab right now, guys. But real quick, go to allearsenglish.com/C1 if you want to check out that course and the free bonus. Okay, let's teach some vocab, Aubrey.
All right, awesome. So this phrase came right out of one of the modules in C1. I saw this and was like, "Oh, we need to teach this to our IELTS students." It's
Yeah,
in retrospect.
so
Super
good.
formal, band 9, really useful for part 3. How could you use it, Jessica, if I asked, if I were the examiner and asked
Mhm.
you, how can economies be improved?
All right, so I could say, maybe government should force everyone to get an education. Then everyone could get better jobs. Okay, actually, in retrospect, governments definitely should not remove freedoms, but they should make more opportunities available to all. So, there, guys, this is such a great strategy for IELTS, and having these phrases in your back pocket, as we say, will help you pivot in your answers. So, here's the thing, guys: what happens on speaking in all parts of the exam? Um, you cannot have time to think except for part 2, of course, but you don't have time to plan your answer in part 1 and part 3. You have to answer immediately, and sometimes the first idea that comes to mind is kinda ridiculous, but you have to say it because you have to say something, okay?
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say this does not lower your score to change your
Right.
mind, to reverse what you were saying. If you have impressive vocabulary to use this boosts your score because we do this. It's very native to throw out an opinion and then immediately regret it and think, and
Right.
say, in retrospect, I don't actually believe that.
No, for sure. Or what if, like, you're so nervous and the examiner asks you, "How often do you go to art museums?" And you're really nervous, right? And so you're like, "Oh my gosh, I go all the time. Every day I
Every
go to
day.
art museums." And then you could be like, in retrospect, I should not have answered like that. That's just what I thought you wanted to hear. I'll be honest. I never go. Like, I could totally see that happening. And if you could narrate that whole process, like, that's still a band 9 answer, guys.
Yes, and you can definitely see how this phrase would also be extremely useful on writing
Yeah,
anytime you're sharing that something should have been done differently. If you can
right.
share something that a government did or that someone chose and to say in retrospect it should have happened differently, what a band 9 idea and a band 9 structure.
100%. Like in a problem solution essay, if you have to describe the causes of a problem, right? So in paragraph 2, you talk about the causes of the problem, and then you can link back to that in paragraph 3 and be like, in retrospect, they should have had more laws, and that's why this is the main solution, is to moving forward enact these prohibitions or whatever.
Nice.
So
Yes.
in retrospect, it just means, like, in hindsight. That's our next phrase. It means looking back at the past. This is what I think. Okay. All right, let's do an example with the synonymous phrase in hindsight. What if, Aubrey, in part 2, you're asked to describe a vacation you took?
Oh, I could talk about my recent trip to Maui and say we weren't able to see the sunrise from the top of the volcano because you have to reserve 6 months in advance. And we also couldn't go to the Black Sands beach because we didn't have a reservation, which looks stunning, by the way, in photos. We were dying to go. In hindsight, I definitely should have done my homework before that trip.
Yes, exactly. So we talked about part 1 and part 3 already, like as a strategy, right, for correcting yourself. But remember, these phrases just mean, thinking about the past, looking back. And so if you're talking about a regret you have, right, these are the high level phrases you use. So, guys, for more very nuanced, sophisticated C1 vocab and skills, check out our brand new course. We are so proud of this. It's so amazing. Save up to $100 and get that free bonus course for advanced listening skills. Go right now, guys, to allearsenglish.com/C1 and check it out.
Awesome. We will see you guys in the course.
Awesome. All right, Aubrey, have a good day.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.